Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. I was driving around today and I was listening to a sports talk show, and people were calling into the show, calling Blake Griffin's dunk last night over Kendrick Perkins the best dunk ever, right? And of course, most of the voices sounded like guys who were in their 20s, right? I understand the new generation, the new school, likes to think big. More power to you. And Blake Griffin is viewed as a dominant dunker. But with all these videos from all these new school types, people born in the 80s and 90s, let me give a different perspective. I'm old school, right? That car I was driving is an old Cadillac, right? I'm not 80s and 90s, I'm in my 40s, right? And so when I saw the Blake Griffin dunk, I had a basic question. Was it a dunk? We need to change the lexicon. Blake Griffin threw it down. No question. He threw it down. But a dunk to me is when the guy's able to grab the rim after the dunk. In other words, it's a dunk if you literally dunk the ball through the basket. Let's not get too expansive in what we call a dunk. If the guy's up in the air and then throws the ball toward the basket and can't even grab the rim after the move, that's not a dunk, that's a throwdown. Now I know that big men are now getting excited and they're lifting the game by doing throwdowns above the rim, right? Dwight Howard won a dunk contest. Blake Griffin won a dunk contest. But all I'm saying is, Dwight Howard's dunk that won a dunk contest, didn't he throw that dunk into the rim? That's not a dunk. When MJ went up back in the day, he actually finished the dunk. He could grab the rim, right? His hand is firmly on the rim. It's not grazing the rim like Blake Griffin's hand grazed the rim. You know, all I'm saying too is if we're going to compare greatest dunks in history, if people have forgotten the Michael Jordan assortment of dunks, and I'm not talking about throwdowns, I'm talking about actual dunks, and if they compare it to what Blake Griffin does, not close. Michael Jordan's throwing down dunks in traffic over guys. Not only that, Jordan's talking to guys before and after the dunk. Let me just say this too, for real old school types. What Blake Griffin is doing isn't even as radical as what David Skywalker Thompson was doing in the 1970s. That Dr. J dunk on the Lakers, where he takes the ball and waves it around while he's driving to the basket. I encourage everyone to take a look at that film. When Doctor is dribbling and then lifts the ball up, understand he never touches the ball with his left hand, right? That's a total dunk from a guy in traffic weaving his way toward the basket, right? Now, Blake Griffin, off a little spin move, gets a lob, is able to literally grab it with both hands and then throw it down. I would call that a throwdown. We need we need a new phrase for these maneuvers where the guy loses the ball before he even touches the rim. That's not a dunk. That's a throwdown. It looked nice. It looked nice. But first, let me just say, let's not compare that to classic dunks. That's the first thing, because it's not even a dunk. And second, let's be real. There are dunks where guys have dealt with dudes in traffic on the way to the rim. How's this little spin play where Chris Paul gives Blake Griffin the ball and by the time he touches the ball, he's in the low post? How could that compare with Dr. J weaving his way down the court before he throws it down? Right? Actually having to travel down the court before he even gets to the rim. He has to work his way to the rim as opposed to Blake Griffin. So I'd like to hear from all you new schoolers, all you new jacks. Tell me why this dunk was supposed to be that mouth watering. It looked good. It looked good. First explain to me why I should consider it a dunk. First of all, I mean, is he throwing it through the rim or is he dunking the ball? Doesn't he lose control of the ball before he gets the ball to the rim? Come on, man. And then also it's like, look, man, you know, I know young guys get excited over, plays, and hey, we all get excited. But come on, for DeAndre Jordan to grab Blake Griffin after that dunk, I mean, understand, back in the day, Michael Jordan would be jawing with John Starks. He'd throw it down. He'd look at John Starks. You know where Scottie Pippen and company were? They were back playing defense. Okay, I mean, this is basketball. It's a competitive thing. Young guys stopping the game to grab each other and stuff like that. Get real, man. I mean, come on. Part of the excitement of a dunk is supposed to be how everyone plays it off. Finally, let me just say this. The fans of Chocolate Thunder remember, back in the day, guys used to dunk so hard and grab the rim so hard after a dunk that sometimes the backboard exploded, right? Now, all I'm saying is that's a dunk. When a guy like Blake Griffin yesterday barely grazes the rim with his hand, I mean, tell me, is that a dunk or is that something else? Shouldn't we have another category called a throwdown instead of a dunk? How can when you think about Jordan's best dunks, are there any dunks or Jordans where he's throwing the ball into the rim like Dwight Howard and Blake Griffin have done? Or is he actually dunking the ball? I mean, is what Vince Carter used to do what Blake Griffin's doing now? I think they're different. I think Blake Griffin is great on spin moves and lobs and is able to throw it down from far away. I think that Vince Carter came up on you right under the basket and dunked in a way where sometimes he could literally hang in the basket from his elbow. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from the different groups. Let me just say this too. As a big man, in terms of dunking technique and how they do it, I'm not even sure if I put Blake Griffin or Dwight Howard on the same stage as I would put another dunk champion, Cleveland's Larry Nance from back in the day. Let me hear from old school and new school. Let's talk NBA dunkers. Let me also hear from the ABA crowd, the Dr. J when he was ABA. Those were some dunks. And, of course, the David Skywalker Thompson crowd. Tell us all, who's the best dunker of all time? And do Dwight Howard and Blake Griffin even belong in the sentence with guys like Carter, Jordan, Dr. J, and others? Let me hear from you. Thanks for watching.